What we're reviewing here on this slide are the three components of Triforce. It's a blend of probiotics, which is the colony complete that contains active soil bacteria, prebiotics, which is the paleo, which is the food source for that biology, and we have biogrowth, which is a nutrient efficiency enhancer. We've packaged those three things together to find a way to regenerate or recharge the depleted soils that we're finding a lot of times when we're testing soils on fairways and residential properties. When we're looking at Colony Complete, it is an active living biological. We're finding out with intensive turf maintenance practices that have been done over the years, we've deteriorated many of the soil's living biology, especially the microorganism population. The effect of this is meant we've had to increase the use of pesticides as well as fertilizers to get the desired results. Colony Complete contains 11 varieties and 22 strains of highly functioning soil bacteria. We picked these bacteria because of their specific and multiple roles that they play in the soil. If we look at some of the bacillus, they have the ability to metabolize nitrogen. Other things like the azotobacter have not only the ability to solubilize or metabolize nitrogen, they also have the ability to bring in iron. And then some of the bacteria that we have, bacterial strains, also have cellulotic activity, which means it breaks down thatch residue. We picked them because they all had specific functions. Some of them had multiple functions, but we wanted the desired results of bringing in nutrients, mineralizing nutrients, as well as increased bioactivity. When we add in Colony Complete, the bacteria, it acts as a bulldozer that clears out some of the bad biology. And as we bring in the good biology, it then invites in protozoa, nematodes, fungi, all the good stuff that is lacking in the soil. When we talk about soils, we like to stimulate plants by using fertilizers. And there's no doubt that synthetic fertilizers do a really good job feeding plants, but they're one-dimensional in their nature. They don't do anything to actually feed the soil biology. So when we're talking about regenerating the soil, one of the key functions is we need to feed the soil or the soil biology. And we call that prebiotics. Colony is a probiotic. Prebiotics actually feed the soil. Not only do they feed the soil biology, they also contain plant nutrients. So they're more than that one-dimensional synthetic fertilizer that we generally use. Paleo is our prebiotic in Triforce. It's a humic acid solution that contains the three key humates: humic, fulvic, and oleic acid. Some of them are responsible for nutrient extraction. Some of them help with stress for summer, and some of them actually work for stimulating root formulation and growth of the plant. They also work to chelate any nutrients in the soil or release them so the plant has the ability to take up those nutrients. And then we have what I almost believe to be the star of the show, biogrowth. Biogrowth is a product that we brought over from the agricultural side. It is a efficiency enhancement product. Unlike paleo and colony, whose activity is in the soil, biogrowth activity is actually in the plant. And it's been tested multiple times to show its ability to increase uptake of nitrogen, phosphorus, calcium, magnesium, zinc, boron. So it takes in a wide array of nutrients that are important for the plant. And so how does that product work? Well, basically, it gets inside the plant and it works like a turbocharger. It attaches to the mitochondria of the cell, and it increases respiration and chlorophyll production. And what it does, it takes that energy reserves and it pushes it out towards root growth. So it takes all that energy and redirects it. Instead of top shoot growth, it puts it back down into the roots. And This is an example that Sean Kennedy sent me of a trial that he was using with BioGrowth, and he had 11-inch long roots on this one fairway. And if we compared it to his control on this property, the control only had 5-inch long roots. So it's showing that it functions as we say it should. It increases nutrient uptake, but it also diverts the energy into root development. What we then did was we took all of these things, the Triforce, and we decided that it makes sense we should put it together all in one easy to use formula. So we came up with Triforce 1904 with a 35% controlled release nitrogen. That jug contains the prebiotic, the probiotic, as well as the nutrients. And if you notice, I said CRN. It's a controlled release nitrogen. So we know that it's going to feed the plant over a 2-week period in a very slow, controlled release. It's not a stabilized nitrogen. I know a lot of people like to use SCRNs, or stabilized nitrogen sources, but the problem with stabilized nitrogen sources, they undo the good that we do when we put in a probiotic. They actually beat up the nitrogen solubilizing bacteria. So you don't want to do that. You want to increase the biology. So we shy away from stabilized nitrogen, and we prefer using controlled release nitrogen. I'm going to now hand this over to Alan, and he's going to bring you through the rest of the presentation. Alan?
Good morning. Thanks, Mike. I appreciate it. Appreciate everybody attending. And basically, I'm just going to go over a case study that I have. I'm not going to get into the specifics that Mike did with all the chemistries that we have. That, we've all had. I am going to put something out with some synergies, but we all know from the educational process and our backgrounds of what is in the product. So basically, I just want to start out and introduce myself to people that don't know me and the company, if there's people on the lawn side that I haven't met, is that I was a golf course superintendent for 28 years. I'm the Pittsburgh regional agronomist, and without doubt, I am sure that I was one of the most difficult superintendents to achieve a sale in my career, as I held myself accountable, not just agronomically, economically, but I also had high expectations of quantifiable results, and above all, I was a risk manager. So right or wrong, I take the same approach as a sales representative, and I take the approach, if I can sell it to myself, it's much less difficult for me to sell it to a customer. So through many discussions with our esteemed peers and our team and colleagues, I reevaluated the entire portfolio of our liquid fertilizer products, the end sources that were that they contained, as well as all the associated release curves. So yeah, as we all know, there's a lot of smoke and mirrors with competitors. Again, being a superintendent, I never went against that. I knew all the products, but really what I find is that the competitors, and I did educate myself in most of their products that they were selling. They're really concentrating on price per gallon. They're not looking at cost per application and the associated nitrogen sources. So I made it my business to really particularly study those and emphasize the cost per application, what they were getting out of the nitrogen source. So again, evaluating the portfolio at a cost per application, from my perspective anyway, or my point of view, the 1904 with the 35% control release nitrogen was the best value for the dollar. When you look at it at a 2.5 gallon container, a 2 by 5 for a 2.5 gallon container, what is it? It's $12.40 a gallon. So it's pretty easy to sell. And then if you go up to a tote, it's cleared to $8.32 a gallon. So it's definitely competitive. So when I looked at that, and again through Mike's training and through conversations, looking at the benefits of all the Triforce with the Paleo, the Bioforce, and the Colony Complete, being a risk manager, and it could only be a benefit. So I had to ask myself, why wouldn't I purchase this product? So with that being said, that's why I got into this heavily, and I'm really glad that I did, and I'll show you why. I'm going to show you a case study. This is a Western Pennsylvania golf course. I hope people didn't fall off their chairs when they saw this, because I can certainly tell you that I had a Maylocks moment when I walked on this golf course at 5 o'clock in the morning on July 1st in 2019. Went through a substantial period of heat and humidity. You can see that's being ravished by foliar pythium. I'll give you a little background of this golf course. It does well over 200 rounds a day. It's an 18-hole public golf course. Standards of operation were pretty low. They actually have 9 holes that are lighted, so they can really enhance their rounds played. That they have leagues clear to 11 o'clock at night. When I walked in there, there's no irrigation on the fairways. That one treatment had been applied to the turf and the fairway turf. It was treated with a one and done product of a crabgrass pre-emergence and an insecticide. So you might imagine I had a profound look on my face when I walked on here. Mostly Paulownia, bluegrass, ryegrass, Rhodes Galley, Heinz 57 mix of turf. Frankly, when I left this at about 10 o'clock that morning, I threw my shoes in the dumpster when I left, so I didn't track it even to my own home. So with that being said, is that we got him on track. We cleared up the pythium with an initial treatment of 1 ounce per thousand of subdue on July 3rd, and then they followed it up with a Fairway Select, which is the secure tebuconazole 1.3 ounce rate. And we started on the 1904 Colony Complete at a 0.125 pound of nitrogen per thousand, 1.5 ounces of Nutrigrow Magnum, and 1 pound per acre was my initial application of the Microtech. Subsequent treatments were every 2 weeks at 1904 with just the Colony Complete and the Nutrigrow Magnum. I didn't have the Microtech in it. And remarkably, you could see 2.5 months later, there was not any seed cut into that fairway. I took it from a different viewpoint, and I didn't know that I'd be doing this presentation, but there is actually lines of demarcation, if you can see my cursor there, of dollar spot infestation where the sprayer had not sprayed. You see a little bit of clover there, can't do anything with that. All vegetative propagation, even if we went back to the last slide, you could see that there was some green in those crowns, can't see much. But it was remarkable, and I definitely have to attest that to not just the CRN in the 1904 and the rates and every 2 weeks building it up to the plant, but it definitely had to have effects with the Triforce. There is no doubt in my mind. Pretty remarkable. Again, vegetative propagation, there was not any seeding taking place at all. And the pressure of dollar spot was intense. We went through a very arid period, as we all did. Again, I'm in Western Pennsylvania in September. Non-irrigated fairways. Something's going on with the Colony Complete or the Triforce, as well as the synergism with the Magnum, and we know that from our discussions with the technical representatives that we discussed before. So let's fast forward to yesterday. So we're doing a complete case study. I did not have a prior soil sampling, but I did take one yesterday. We did make one tebuconazole application at 0.0 ounce to knock down any of the spores. I wanted to do that. And from this day forward, yesterday forward, or I'm sorry, from the June 3rd forward, we're going to be going every 2 weeks with the 1904, the Nutrigrow Magnum, and 2 pounds of Microtech. And we are also going to add in the Trim Pack Select for clipping control. Frankly, we made those applications clear into October with just the Colony Complete and Nutrigrow Magnum, because I did want to build up the biology as well as the controlled release nitrogen, because we came out of winter unbelievably green, and obviously we were growing roots. You can see there's no way that I could even penetrate those fairways with even a soil probe when I first started there. Remarkably, we have at least 7-inch roots, and you can see the soil profile there, as well as the thatch mat. Now, I'm sure the thatch mat's being completely compressed down by the gazillion rounds that they have there, but still the root strength. And again, with this picture, I do want to emphasize, we had 0.6 inches of precipitation in 14 days and went through 3 days with heat indexes in regular temperatures in 90s, daytime temperatures, heat indexes mid-90s with nighttime temperatures in the 70s. No irrigation, exceeding 250 rounds of play. And again, I about drive off the road when I drive by the place. Can't believe it. So with that being said, is that we're just going to get into it. This is basically really the program that is being bundled together, and that these are rates that I just mentioned at 0.125 pound of nitrogen per 1,000 square feet with the 1904 and the attributes of the Triforce Microtech at 2 pounds per acre, as well as the NutriGrow Magnum at 1.5 ounces per 1,000 or 65 ounces per acre. And you can see the bundle, it will cover 25 acres, and it's also $75 per acre and $1,875 per application for 25 acres. We have had prior educational sessions on the Microtech that were phenomenally done that we can all access through our drop boxes. No doubt this complement provides even more greening and more micronutrients and magnesium to the crown of the plant. Hands down, another huge addition, as well as the NutriGrow Magnum. Again, we've had other educational series, but I will say, and the selling process and how I sell this is, and it's indisputable from our technical advisors, that the difference between the NutriGrow Magnum and the other products, one has 6 pounds of PO3, one has 3 pounds of PO3. How I present it is that you don't have to preload the plant 2 weeks prior to the heat. You can go 72 hours as long as you get it into the Enrich technology, which basically saves you an entire application to your treated the surfaces that you're treating, which again is another economical price point. Whenever you're looking at this, it's, as we all know, it's more per case, but per application is cheaper than the 3 pounds of PO3 products because you're applying 3 ounces instead of 1.5 ounces.